Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the press briefing on the December 2019 inflation, and Happy New Year. Thank you for being with us today. Before we begin, I'd like to introduce you to our officials. We have Deputy National Statistician Rosalinda P. Bautista of the Sectoral Statistics Office. We have Assistant National Statistician Divina Gracia L. Del Prado of the Economic Sector Statistics Service. And we have Division Chief Elena Varona of the Price Statistics Division. For the briefing on the December 2019 inflation, let us all welcome DNS Rose Bautista.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone, and Happy New Year. The Philippine Statistics Authority is pleased to report the inflation rate for the Philippines for the month of December 2019. The country's headline inflation increased further by 2.5% in December of 2019. This brings the annual average inflation for 2019 to 2.5%. Inflation was observed at 1.3% in November 2019 and 5.1% in December 2018. The main source of the upward trend in December 2019 inflation was the annual increase in the index of transport. Particularly, annual rates went up in the following commodities: petroleum and fuels for personal transport equipment, 8.7% in December 2019 from negative 4.8% in November 2019. Jeepney fare, 0.6% from negative 4.9%, and ferry and ship fare, 5.2% from 3.0%. The annual increment in food and non-alcoholic beverages also pushed up the overall inflation in December 2019. Specifically, higher annual markups were observed in the following food groups: vegetables, 8.2% in December 2019 from 1.0% in November 2019. Fish, 7.4% from 2.5%, and food products not elsewhere classified, 6.3% from 5.6%. Moreover, higher annual rate recorded in alcoholic beverages and tobacco also contributed to the uptrend in the inflation in December 2019. This was primarily due to higher annual markups in the following commodities: cigarettes, 24.5% in December 2019 from 23.4% in November 2019. Brandy, 3.4% from 3.0%, and beer, 3.7% from 3.5%. Among the 11 major commodity groups, the major contributor to the December 2019 inflation was food and non-alcoholic beverages with an annual rate of 1.7% and a share of 27.9% to the overall inflation. Contributing to the inflation of food and non-alcoholic beverages for December 2019 were the following food groups: fish, 7.4% inflation and 83.0% share. Vegetables, 8.2% inflation and 41.7% share. And meat, 3.2% inflation and 39.0% share. The second major contributor to the overall inflation was housing, water, electricity, gas, and other fuels, which recorded an inflation of 1.9% and a share of 17.9% to the overall inflation. The commodities that mainly contributed to the December 2019 inflation of housing, water, electricity, gas, and other fuels were the following. Actual rentals for housing, 3.0% inflation and 101.7% share. Fuel wood, 7.0% inflation and 14.8% share. And water distribution services, 2.9% inflation and 8.9% share. The third commodity group that largely contributed to the overall inflation was restaurant and miscellaneous goods and services, which had a 2.7% inflation and a 14.5% share to the overall inflation in December 2019. Specific items that contributed to the December 2019 inflation of this commodity group were the following. Meals eaten outside the home, 2.8% inflation and 66.6% share. Personal care, 2.5% inflation and 28.1% share. And personal effects, 2.0% inflation and 3.4% share. The uptrend in the inflation in December 2019 was mainly brought about by the 1.7% annual increment recorded in the heavily weighted food and non-alcoholic beverages index. In November 2019, food and non-alcoholic beverages index registered an annual rate of 0%. Likewise, the annual change of the transport index picked up by 2.2% in December 2019 from 2.4% annual decline in November 2019. Moreover, higher annual increases were noticed in the indices of the following commodity groups. Alcoholic beverages and tobacco, 18.4%. Housing, water, electricity, gas, and other fuels, 1.9%. And furnishing, household equipment, and routine maintenance of the house, 3.1%. On the contrary, a slower annual markup of 2.9% in December 2019 was noted in health index. Meanwhile, the other 5 commodity groups retained their November 2019 annual rates. These are clothing and footwear, 2.6%, communications, 0.3%, recreation and culture, 1.4%, education, 4.6%, and restaurants and miscellaneous goods and services, 2.7%. Inflation in the National Capital Region rose further by 2.8% in December 2019. Inflation in the area was posted at 1.5% in November 2019 and at 4.8% in December 2018. In the National Capital Region, higher annual increases were noticed in the indices of 8 out of 11 commodity groups in December 2019. These are the following. Food and non-alcoholic beverages, 4.5%. Alcoholic beverages and tobacco, 13.0%. Housing, water, electricity, gas, and other fuels, 1.1%. Furnishing, household equipment, and routine maintenance of the house, 1.2%. Health, 1.8%. Communication, 0.2%. Recreation and culture, 0.9%. And restaurants and miscellaneous goods and services, 2.8%. Moreover, the annual rate of transport index went up by 0.8% in December 2019 from negative 4.4% in November 2019. Among the food groups in the National Capital Region, higher annual upticks were noted in vegetables, particularly onion and mustard, fish, specifically galunggong and tulingan, and food groups not elsewhere classified, such as calamansi. On an annual basis, Prices of consumer items in areas outside the National Capital Region likewise accelerated further by 2.4% in December 2019. In November 2019, inflation in areas outside the National Capital Region was registered at 1.2% and in December 2018, 5.3%. The highest inflation among the regions in areas outside the National Capital Region was seen in Region 5 or Bicol at 3.3% in December 2019. Inflation was lower at 1.5% in November 2019. For Bicol region, food and non-alcoholic beverages recorded an annual increase of 0.8% in November 2019 from an annual drop of 1.9% in November 2019. Moreover, the following commodity groups exhibited higher annual increments in December 2019. Housing, water, electricity, gas, and other fuels, 4.5%, transport, 5.2%, and communication, 0.7%. Among the food groups in Bicol region, higher annual rates were noted in vegetables, particularly onion and eggplant, fish, specifically galunggong and dilis, and fruits such as papaya and apple. The lowest inflation in areas outside the National Capital Region was observed in Bangsamoro Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao, or BARM, at 0.8% in December 2019. Its annual rate was registered at 0.7% in November 2019. Inflation in Region 2 or Cagayan Valley and Region 9 Zamboanga Peninsula in December 2019 went up by 1.6% and 1.2%, respectively, after exhibiting a negative annual rates in November 2019. All other regions in areas outside the National Capital Region registered higher annual markups in December 2019. The annual average headline inflation of the country for the year 2019 slowed down to 2.5% from 5.2% in 2018. The annual average inflation in the National Capital Region also eased to 2.6% in 2019 from 5.5% in 2018. Similarly, the annual average inflation in areas outside the National Capital Region decelerated to 2.5% in 2019 from 5.1% in 2018. Compared with their 2018 annual average rates, all regions outside the National Capital Region had lower annual average inflation in 2019. Mimaropa region recorded the highest annual average inflation at 3.9% in 2019. On the other hand, Region 9 or Zamboanga Peninsula posted the lowest annual average inflation during the year at 1.0%. It also exhibited the biggest slowdown in inflation rate in 2019 from its 6.2% annual rate in 2018. This ends my presentation on the inflation in the Philippines for December 2019. We enjoin you all to participate in the upcoming 2020 Census of Population and Housing, and this will be conducted in May 2020, and we hope you will welcome our enumerators. The Philippine Statistics Authority appreciates your presence in the December 2019 Inflation Press Briefing. We look forward to meeting you again on February 5, 2020, when we report the inflation for January 2020.
Thank you very much, Asset Rose. Before we begin the open forum, we would like to remind everyone that we will be sending you the press kits via email based on the email you provided during registration.
Please state your name and organization before asking your name.
Yes, sir.
We might
Good morning po. I'm Bruce Rodriguez from ABS-CBN News. Can I just ask if the uptick in December inflation, is this somehow, can seasonality or seasonal factors also affected this uptick? And through the years, have we seen inflation to usually rise during December months or the holiday season?
At the national level, the seasonality adjusted CPI for all items picked up by 0.8% in December 2019. So, yung seasonality adjustment in November, yung seasonally adjusted CPI was 0.2%. Kaya
Alam mo, Joe, yan ang mga makeup pen. Ulit. Lagi mo na.
So, sinasabi dito ay seasonally adjusted ay pag December.
Hello. Ay ma'am, bale, ano po yan, kapag event development po yan, kapag December tumataas talaga yung specifically sa food, tumataas food dahil sa